This is the new track for the podcast. What do you think?
I like it.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
It's not too intense. I thought, like, Viall files. It's kind of like X-Files spooky.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So it's supposed to be spooky?
Not spooky, but kind of like, I don't know. It just felt right. What do you think?
You should have asked me.
How about you people at home?
Here.
Like, let me know. Don't give me like 2 stars because you don't like the song, but also open to your feedback.
No, I really liked it.
Great.
It's unique.
Well, anyways, thanks for tuning in. This is episode 3. I just want to start off by saying, obviously, for all the people listening, thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate the support. I love all your reviews. Your feedback's been great for the most part. No, it's been great. So really, thank you for taking the time. I know there's a lot of podcasts out there. There's a lot of options. And be patient with us because, this podcast obviously is... We're going to grow with you, and we're kind of figure things out together. The ultimate goal of this podcast is to, again, try to understand the world. I hope to learn a lot from it through the guest hosts that I have. Hopefully, me and my guest host can help answer your questions, share some of our stories and our life's successes and failures and insecurities and things that we're confident in, and hopefully we'll all just be a little bit more aware of each other and life will just be a little sweeter. With that said, I'm very excited about my guest co-host today, Violet Benson.
Yes.
Violet is a friend of a friend, and if you aren't aware of who Violet is, she's also the founder and creator of the very funny and very successful Instagram account Daddy Issues. _. And once I started looking at Daddy Issues, it's a really great account. It's a meme account. It's called Daddy Issues, and I thought it might be a really interesting conversation to maybe talk about Daddy Issues a little bit. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Violet, Daddy Issues is... it's something, especially in the dating world, that we like to joke about. I mean, right. Everyone knows I'm single. I'm always trying to figure out, is it a me problem? Probably. Whether it's, the things I'm doing in relationships or just selection process or just getting over my insecurities. And certainly there have been times with people I've been in relationships with or people I've dated where, like, whether daddy issues come out, or... you joke about daddy issues like early on, or I've been on dates where girls have talked about like, well, I mean, I don't have daddy issues, and I'm like, well, I didn't even ask. Or, and I'm like, I don't think also like stereotypes of daddy issues. It's not specific to women. Men can have daddy issues, and they can have. I think the opposite is. The guys have mommy issues or things like that. I mean,
you can have both. I have female friends that have mommy issues. I have friends that have daddy issues. I have guy friends who are straight and have daddy issues. I have gay guy friends who have daddy issues or they have mommy issues.
We all have issues,
We all have issues. Yeah. I mean, if we didn't, therapists would be out of jobs.
Right.
So.
And we might not even have a podcast. Not that we're therapists, but we wouldn't be able to talk about all our issues. Do you think you have daddy issues, Violet?
Well, I think I definitely have... I think I have daddy issues, but I'm working through them. And I feel like I've been working on getting through them. Like my father and I didn't grow up with a good relationship in a sense. I didn't grow up with him around. He worked a lot. But then, and look, we're Russian, so we didn't hug or say I love you until I was like 23, 24, which is fine.
It's fine. But like, not probably your... favorite choice, but
like the weirdest thing, like having an account like Daddy Issues helped me through my issues and understanding myself, being more self-aware of myself. And like I wrote about it and everything. And my father and I literally, my whole family now, I feel like I got more in tune with my emotions. And like we all hug, we all kiss, we all say I love you, and we're so closer.
That's awesome.
And I really feel like Daddy Issues somehow helped me change the way me and my family were with one another. So do I still have daddy issues? Like, probably, but I'm working through them, and I don't look at it. It doesn't define me.
I mean, I think that's kind of the goal of for all of us if the issues that we do have is to have them be like a reason we have our issues, but not an excuse to continue.
I mean, I just want to be loved, and like I have abandonment issues, and I just like need constant validation that the person still loves me every day. But like, is that daddy issues? Like, no, maybe.
So when you started the account, was it like? Did you just think it was just kind of a funny, relatable name, or were you really kind of tapping into your own kind of insecurities at the time, or both?
I literally did not know it can become a profession. So when I started Daddy Issues, it was just a joke for me because I was like, I have daddy issues. Like, I'm sure so many other girls I know have daddy issues. It's just funny, or they have like a daddy, that pays for their stuff. So I just did daddy issues, like literally put zero thought into it because I never thought it would become a thing.
Why'd you do it at the time?
So I used to be an accountant.
Really?
Which I heard maybe you used to be an accountant.
I was, yeah.
But you did audit. So in accounting firms, auditors are usually like cooler, as cool as you can be.
I don't know about that, but I also just appreciate you for like doing your homework on me. That's you know.
Yep.
I really appreciate that.
I researched it and I read all about you.
It was very, very thorough of you, Violet. So you just started it kind of. Well, yeah. So why?
I was in tax. I was an accountant, and I moved into this group where I was doing state and local tax consulting. I went from doing tax returns to that, and the women in my team just started to make my life completely miserable. And I had to do, for some reason, they just kept focusing on my looks, which was so silly because when I was younger, it took me a second to grow into my looks. Okay. So I was bullied for not being cute or being like very awkward looking.
Like, how old were you when that happened?
Oh my God! It started when I was 5.
Okay, wow.
For personal reasons, which one day I'll talk about them, but like I don't want to get.
Let's not go too deep.
I don't want to get too deep. But it started when I was 5, and then like it kept going. And plus, I'm foreign. I'm not from here, so like forget of my looks. Like not only did I get bullied when I lived in a different country, then when I moved to America when we were 14, that's like not only am I being bullied now for being awkward looking, but also like I barely speak English. So it was a lot to take in.
It's like, whew, well, I'm just trying to give up a water here.
Yeah, God felt so sorry for me. He like gave me breasts, and like literally I moved to America and I went from like A to B to C to D, and he was like, girl, you're so awkward and weird. Like, here's some tits. Like, good luck. and he sent me to America.
Did that work out the way you thought God might have it intend?
It would have if I wasn't so awkward with boys, which made it even worse. Like guys would try to talk to me, and then I would just be like, "What? I don't understand what." Like it was so bad. Anyway, so moving on in accounting, when I kind of became a little cuter, the women in my work like made my life completely miserable. They would start rumors about me. They would make comments like, we know why she's working so slowly, like alone with a partner. Like we know why she got this project, and like it had nothing to do with that. I have immigrant mentality. I wanted to work hard. I wanted to become a partner, which is the top accounting firm. Anyway, they made me so miserable that every morning in my car I would cry before I would walk into work. But we're Russian, and my father was like, you move to America, you get a 9 to 5. That is. You're miserable, but like that's the American dream. So I had to follow the American dream.
Just be miserable and work hard.
Yeah, like all my whole family, they all have second degrees. So it's very important for me to finish my accounting exams to become a CPA. So anyway, they made my life so miserable, and I was crying all the time. So daddy issues, and I didn't have any social media accounts. So when I created daddy issues, it was an escape from reality for me. Because I was like overly depressed. Like I didn't know what else to do. I had no friends. I never left my house, and all I did was work. So I created daddy issues. I just started posting some random memes that made me laugh. I felt so out of place. So when I would post these memes, I didn't think anyone could relate, but I just posted them for myself. And I made sure to keep it anonymous because I was so sick of anyone ever focusing on my looks, whether I was ugly or cute. Like I was like, shut up, just focus on like my personality or making you laugh or making me laugh. And I can't explain, like those women, I'm not blaming them, but I feel like they made my life so miserable that I completely forgot who I was, and I felt so lost. So when I made this Instagram account, like I didn't even know who I was. So luckily with my obsessive personality and this being my hobby, I just started like doing all these tricks to get people to notice me, whether it was to go on my competitors' Instagram accounts like Fuck Jerry and The Fat Jewish, and go on the people that follow them and like pictures of them and comment weird stuff. And I told myself like every night before I go to bed, I have to like at least 100 people's Instagrams in order for them to notice me. So it was like a project. So it would be like between 100 to 200 people every night. I would like pictures. Then I was like, okay, I want a famous person to follow me. Like I would be like, okay, Joe Jonas is famous. I want him to notice me. He likes meme accounts. Let me go to his friends, his best friends who don't have enough followers, like their pictures, comment weird stuff, hoping one day they'll tag Joe, which eventually that happened. That's
great. And I just want to like put things in perspective for the listeners too. I mean, I know sometimes the word influencer can have a negative connotation, but what Violet did is create a business for herself. And just, listening to her talk about explaining how she set these specific goals. And it's a weird goal to have in a sense. You wouldn't think about like, I want to have a Joe Jonas follow me or whatever,
Right.
but to set that goal and do that, like helped you build this account and grow it to what it is today. And now you have this successful business that is, quite cool. And, this all kind of to the point to bring it back is you had these, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you had these insecurities, you were bullied, you had these issues, and you turned these weaknesses into a strength.
Yeah, and it's pretty amazing. Like I've always, I feel like I don't say this enough, but I have said this to my followers before, that when I started daddy issues, I was so insecure and lost. I didn't know who I was. And the more people kept tagging their friends and being like, oh my God, that's so me. I was just like, oh my God, I'm not alone. This is so crazy. And people literally formed me. Like they formed me as I am as a person and helped me find my confidence and like figure out who I was again. And it was the weirdest thing. Like that year, I literally, who I was meant to be, I finally became, and all that confidence and everything. And from that, after people literally created me, I moved on to helping other people with their self-esteem and confidence and understanding that they're not alone and all these insecurities.
That's awesome. It's really cool.
It's amazing, yeah. It's really been a great opportunity. I'm so thankful for it. But speaking of daddy issues, would you say you have any?
Daddy issues?
Yeah.
Probably. I don't. I feel very fortunate to have the parents that I have. I mean, I had truly an amazing childhood, but I'm assuming I have some sort of like bad habits or issues stem from that. Like I try to like. I don't know if you know, I come from a large family. I have 10 siblings.
It's crazy.
And I have a bad habit. I eat fast. I like to the point where I sometimes forget to breathe. Like I inhale my food, but I always like, sometimes it's a really bad habit where like I'll have friends be like, dude, Nick, honestly.
Do you eat fast because you were so used to your siblings may take away the food from you? Well,
like literally, like I remember growing up and having cereal. Like my mom would buy cereal's a thing, and like she would always buy like healthy cereal, but once in a while she'd buy like sugar cereal if it was like on sale or something. And literally, you would have to like, growing up in my house, have to set the alarm for like 6 o'clock, and like eat it as fast as you can, because if it, it's a box of cereal. There's what, 5 or 6 bowls in there,
right?
There's like 7 or 8 of us like eating cereal. So it was like literally a mad rush to
7 or 8 of you.
Well, I have 10 siblings, right? Well, they weren't all born when I was a child. Or like when my mom would have like, it was like, we'd had our favorite meals that my mom would make. And if it was like something we all liked, there was always a finite amount of food. So we're just like, it was just an arms race to try to like eat. And again, I never went to bed hungry. I had an amazing childhood, but just like the impatience of like making sure I got what I wanted. I had to like rush to do that.
You guys should have had a show, Keeping Up with the Vials. Did I pronounce it right? Viall. Viall. Oh.
Yeah, it's a struggle. Eventually, maybe by like the end of the show,
Viall.
like it'll be like people get that. But like I don't know, in terms of like you mentioned like something you talked about bullying.
Yeah,
that was something.
Have you ever been bullied?
When I was in 8th grade, and I've thought about it a lot in terms of how that has affected me to this day. When I was in the 8th grade, I had this girl who I used, like, I mean, whatever you define girlfriend or boyfriend when it's 6th, 7th, 8th grade, but this girl I dated, we weren't dating anymore. Yeah. And then I was on this baseball team, and this guy who was my friend in the 8th grade, who I thought was he was my baseball team, we were friends, and then they started dating, and he found out that we dated. It was just like whatever. And again, dating meant like we called each other boyfriend or girlfriend.
Did you kiss in the cheek?
I never kissed this girlfriend. And
not even on her face?
No, we didn't even hold hands. But she was my girlfriend. And he found out that, she was my girlfriend. And this was like in the beginning of 8th grade. And he started calling me gay. Mm-hmm. He was very popular. And then all the other guys in our group started, like, I went to school one day and all of a sudden everyone's like, hey, I heard you're gay. Started using the F word in terms of like, just describing me. And at the time, again, keep in mind, this was like 1992, 93. And like, obviously we've come a long way. We have a long way to go in terms of acceptance of homosexuality. But in 92, 93, it wasn't as like socially acceptable. I grew up in a very conservative family. I didn't even know what honestly gay meant at the time, right? At the time, this went on for like pretty much the whole year.
So did you accept it? Did you?
Well, it was more like I was just didn't know. Like I literally, again, eighth grade. This is when I was kind of coming into my sexuality. Like eighth grade was the year I kind of discovered how to have fun with myself, so to speak. And so like at the time,
masturbating.
She's talking about masturbating. And so like I remember being in school, like it would happen daily. And there was a point where I was just like, am I? I don't know. Like I didn't really know my sexuality enough to like it happened so much, and I was told this so much that it made me wonder if I was. The whole time I'm thinking, well, like when I get aroused or I get excited, I'm thinking about girls. So like I don't think I was truly like but confused, right? And so it got to the point where I didn't want to go to school. I hated it. Like I was really upset. I was just like, people are telling me I'm something I didn't think I was, but I truly didn't know.
But it wasn't them like trying to accept you as it was. It was
no,
their
it
way
was
of
meant
trying to bully you.
It was meant to like
be mean.
To be mean, and like again, this is 1992,
like,
93.
Good job, Nick. You're gay. We support you.
It was like what's your problem? Like I was.
Yeah.
And I felt like definitely an outsider, and then so like it just, that was eighth grade. So ninth grade was high school. So I went to a different school, and those guys went to another high school. I ended up being like in high school, I was kind of in the in crowd, so to speak. So that stopped, and it just like, and as I got older as a young adult, obviously I became more aware of my sexuality and more confident in my sexuality. And I just remember, like, it was interesting. I feel like how I projected that insecurity or that bullying that happened. At first, I look back and I think to myself, as a freshman in high school, part of the in crowd, I look back and I feel like because I now was in the in crowd, I was almost projecting and trying. I never bullied. But what I didn't do is, looking back, is I felt like I didn't do a good job. And I remember having this conscious thought of other kids who not necessarily were being bullied for being gay or whatever, just being bullied. I didn't feel like I was defending them the way I should. I kind of like let it happen. I was like,
you were just happy it wasn't
I wanted to be
you.
cool. And it was interesting because like in Bachelor World, the reality TV show that I was on, as you know, it's fun. It's very much high school in terms of the things that go on in the house when you're filming, and even outside with social media. There's always like one or two characters who are the villains and things like that on social media. And you can tell with people who go on the show sometimes that like, socially they take pictures with people they think are going to be popular. They try to distance themselves with people who they think are going to be villains who they don't like. And I was the villain of my season, or like, some other guys were, and I was just like, I'm just going to decide not to care. Right. And I think, looking back, it's something I struggled with when I was younger, but I ended up having, in college back in, this was the early 2000s, gay friends. Right. And I remember just thinking like wanting to like be friends with anyone, and like people who were thought to be outsiders. That's what I think was kind of the genesis of me trying to ask questions with people. I've always been very curious about people who were considered different or the minorities, and learn more about them. Because I just remember feeling like such an outsider when I was younger. And I remember being disappointed in myself in high school that I didn't, kind of help the people who were feeling the same way I did in the eighth grade do a better job.
Yeah, but it's not your fault. Like, you didn't know any better. You were young. And
sure,
it's
but
also a different world back then than it is now.
Totally. But again, to your point, it's like it always became important to me to try to understand like what the things that happened to me when I was younger. And instead of like making an excuse, make it, not necessarily a strength, but learn from it. Like, creating daddy issues as an account and turning it into a business, or not that like, being confident enough that like if it turned out I was like, they would be fine. It's like I'm not, but it's not a bad thing. And to include the people who are, and like now that it is more socially accepted and we have a long way to go. It's just, it's something that I look back and think that it helped me be an outsider when I was younger, but it was pretty shitty at the time.
Yeah, I feel you.
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I get, if I have to think about things that my coworkers bullied me for. I mean, they would just do, aside from, I mean, they start rumors about me. One time there was one girl that put me in this room and she just started yelling at me. She's like, you think you can go to the partner and you can tell him stuff about it? It's like, no, this is like, you need to accept that this is like high school. You're a freshman, we're the seniors, and we're supposed to bully you and you're supposed to fucking take it. Do you understand
they
that?
said that?
Yeah, and this girl was like shorter than me too. And I'm pretty tall. So I just had to like, no offense, like in a way, kind of look down at her as she's talking and she's like screaming at me and moving her hands. And I was just like, is this like really happening? Like, how old are you? Is this real life? And she was yelling at me, and luckily another HR person walked by and heard it, and that's how she got in trouble. But like, literally sometimes they would get in trouble because someone overheard them, and then I would get more in trouble with them because HR is involved. It was like so insane. Or like,
and this is like your early 20s, right?
Or like one day, yes. Or like one day I put on headphones. I was at a different office and I was working, and there was 20 of us in the office, and I was just listening to music as I'm working. I take off the headphones. I look around. The whole office is empty, and I realized when someone was walking around tapping someone on the shoulder saying stuff, they all went to lunch except me. So the whole office at our like Valley office went to lunch in my team except me. And I was like, I'm literally the youngest in my team. Like, who do that? Like, that's so weird. It was just weirding me out. And people used to tell me when I became daddy issues, they were like, well, are you going to like tell them off? Because a lot of the girls followed me on daddy issues. They just didn't know it was me.
Sure.
And I was like, I knew you guys would like me if you got to know me. Like, it was so annoying.
You find that like it's almost, you feel this vindication, but yet.
Yeah, I was like, I don't get it why you hate me, but you like my alter ego. Like, it's still me.
Yeah,
but I
felt that when I was the villain on Andy Season. I always felt like I would meet someone in person. They'd be like, oh, you're actually pretty cool. And I'd be like, thank you. But like, oh, they would just like, I found myself like wanting to meet as many people in person to try to like validate that I was more likable than they might think I was by watching on TV. And like, you sense that and you realize like, well, I got to stop doing that and try to like,
you can't make everyone like you.
Yeah, you can't do that. But it's really interesting. It takes a while to have that self-awareness to
But
do that.
people, my friends were like, are you going to tell them off? Like one day when I decided to leave the office to fully go do daddy issues, they're like, well, are you going to be like, F you, tell everyone? And are you going to go into the office and tell everyone? And that honestly, at that point, my mindset changed completely. When I started daddy issues, that was like, in my head, I was like, oh, that ever happened? So I gotta be like, F you guys, I'm daddy issues, you guys suck, blah, blah, like, this is what you did to me. And then by the time I got to the daddy issues, my confidence level changed that I didn't feel the need to tell them off. So when I left the office, no one even knew why I was leaving it. It was me just saying, you guys are right. I need some time to work on myself, who I am as a person. You're all right. There's something wrong with me, and I just need time for myself. That's literally what I said. And then like a year later, when I showed my face, an article came out how I was bullied, and that's how I started daddy issues. And I overheard how like half of my office, it was split. Half of my office was like, fuck this girl. And the other
high five. That's a great story.
And the other side was like, good for her. So
that's awesome. See, like, I think it's important. We gotta, let's not try to, and some are harder than others. I know we can't always relate to the people who have their struggles, and some people have certainly harder horror stories of bullying than Viall and I have had when we were younger.
Well, no, I have worse ones when I was younger, but I'm not going to get into it.
Okay, we won't get into that. But like, but I'm saying like,
the point is you can get revenge without being vindictive. Like, I think the best revenge is to walk away from the person.
Kindness,
No, not even kill them with kindness. The point is just like, forget about them. Like, I think when you do better, that's how you get back at anyone, whether it's your ex, whether it's people that bullied you. Like, you doing better and not caring, that's the biggest
that's
revenge.
A great point. Focus on what you can control and do that, and then it will all work itself out.
Exactly.
So back into just the dating and daddy issues, I'm curious because while we've discussed we all have our issues, men and women, but we do end up dating people who also have their issues. Do you have any like daddy issues, or like for you when you're dating men, issues that you're like, is that a daddy issue or mommy issue that's come up, or you're just like, oh wow, like red flags that just, you're like, ugh, I don't know, maybe that's a problem you need to just like unpack before we can move further?
I think it's the weirdest thing, but looking back now at some of my old relationships, I can see now mommy issues, not daddy issues, but like one of my ex-boyfriends, he always talked badly about his mom and looked down at her, and
never a good sign.
And now I could look back and realize how he treated women in general, including myself. Like, I didn't realize it, but I had daddy issues. I was so needing love and validation that I just stuck around hoping one day like he'll love me, which he didn't. Anyway, so until I loved myself, and then he came back, and I was like, no. But that only took like 6-7 years. No big deal.
Thank you. Next.
Next. 7 years later, and thanks. Next. Like, hopefully.
What else? What else you got?
Then I had another ex that he had mommy issues with his mom being overbearing, loving. Like, when he would go out of town to school, she would tell me things like, oh, when he's not here, like, I open the closet and I smell all of his clothes because I can smell his scent. And I was just like, what?
Whoa.
Like, oh my God. Fuck, why are you telling me this?
In the moment where you're like, that's just weird. Like, what did you think in the moment? Like, I need to get out, or you still found it like a reason to like make it okay?
Well, I had bigger daddy issues back then, so I already slept with him, so I wasn't going to leave him. I was like, we had sex, we're together forever. So I was just like, I'll just keep going. It's fine. I'm not seeing this. Like, I pretend it wasn't happening. Or like last year I dated a guy where his mom passed away when he was young. And I think, I don't even know how to get into it without stepping on anyone's toes who doesn't have a parent, but I started to learn actually my ex-boyfriends, one of them who looked down on his mom, his father passed away when he was young. So I think sometimes when you don't have a good enough either parent in your life, that can also affect them. So that ex that was kind of mean to women, he had both. But like the one guy that I dated last year, that his mom passed away when he was young, I could see how he didn't like believe in marriage. It affected him in a way that I think he had serious abandonment issues. That like, oh, what's the point? Like, I'm gonna leave him anyway since his mom, even though she didn't have a choice, she left him. It was very sad. But when I dated that guy, being more self-aware now and trying to research as much as I can about humans in general, I knew for myself, like, oh, okay, this guy has a lot of issues, not just from that, stemming from a lot of other things that I can't help him with. Because, you know, his mom passing away, he got into drugs, then he went sober, and it's like, I couldn't save him.
That's a good point too. You always, like, I get a lot of questions, or you hear people talking about, well, you know, they had this happen to them, or they had that, and that can be very unfortunate. But sometimes it might be out of your control. You know, people ask me like, do you think people can change? Sure. It doesn't happen often, but it really has to come from within, from that person.
Exactly.
Like, you can't be the driving force to change them. And sometimes they may not be the right fit. And like, you know, if someone's treating you badly in a relationship and the reason might be they have these issues from their past, it's still not an excuse to do it.
Exactly. And it's their issue, and it has nothing to do with the person they're dating that they're trying to ruin. And thank God, like, I let that person go. Like, I saw so many red flags, and I tried to help him, which was my mistake, because you should never try to help someone that isn't asking for your help. It was my mistake. But like, when I stepped away, I was like, whoa, that was so much negative energy there. And I'm so thankful that it didn't work out between us. But like, looking back, like my father, his father passed away when he was 18. And I mean, actually, he did give me daddy issues, so he's not a good example. My mother, her mother passed away when she was 13 from cancer. And then her father left them for another woman because she already had children, so she didn't care for my sister and her siblings. I mean, for my mother and her siblings. My mother is literally the best woman I've ever met, and she's so kind, she's so sweet, she's so nurturing, she has such a good heart. And she could have had so many experiences in her life that could have hardened her heart, and she could have been a bad mother or whatever, and she's still married till this day, and she's literally the best mother I could ask for. So that's an example for me that I look at, that your circumstances don't have to determine who you will be as a person. You can still change if you want to. Yeah,
I totally agree, and I think that's really great. That's really actually fantastic.
I love my mom.
That's a great story.
Thanks.
I love my mom too. I once stated, in terms of like from the upper end, you can tell me if you think there were some mommy or daddy issues. I don't know, but I dated a girl for a while, and like 6 months into the relationship, she just started asking me to like sing her lullabies and talk like a baby. She would talk like a baby, but she like wanted me to like also do it back, or like carry her into the bedroom, and not like
carry her.
I don't mean like carry her like you sweep her off her feet, but like wrap her in a blanket, and she would like talk like a baby to me, and like wanted to watch kid movies.
Can you give an example?
She would be like, oh, like a baby, not like like it would be like, oh, just love me, or just sing me. She wanted me to literally sing her a lullaby. I could.
Did she do it before you guys would have sex, or is it?
No, it was like unrelated to.
Did she ever do it during sex?
No. No, thank God. There was and then I had another relationship. This was a condensed relationship, but she told me this story And at the time, it was like her acknowledging kind of like her childhood and awareness. But it was so like, I was like, oh, well, that's great that she's kind of like telling the story, how it affected her. But I still couldn't, it was embedded in my head of like, how is this playing a role now? Because like things kind of would come out that kind of, when she told me the story, like, so the story was when she was a child and she was old enough to go to school. I don't know how old she was, but she was like in elementary school. And every morning she would prefer a certain shape of waffle. I don't remember the shape. It was either square or circle. And one particular morning, her mom would pick her up, wrap in her blanket every morning, and carry her to the breakfast table.
And this is, by the way, a different girl that like to get wrapped up.
This is a different girl.
Noticing a pattern.
This is a pattern here. Again, my problems. And she described the story that her mom would make her these waffles. And so one morning, her mom made her. Let's say she preferred square and her mom made her the circle waffle. And she admitted that she like threw this fit and she just refused to eat it. And then she told me how that day she went to school and halfway through like class, she got pulled out of school and the principal was like, hey, your mom's on the phone. Got on the phone and she told me how her mom got on the phone and was like, hey, I just want to apologize for making you the wrong kind of waffle. Yeah. And I just was like, truly like, oh my, is that how you create a monster? Like what kind of like,
well, was she a monster?
No, of course. I mean, like there were things that like kind of made sense of like expectations or kind of owning up to like things not being her fault.
Maybe that was her
whatever,
hinting
but
that she's a princess and she wants to continue to get treated like a
princess. There was definitely some like, will I ever be able to do enough kind of fears?
Question, I think everyone else is thinking this. Did it not work out because you gave her the wrong shape of waffle?
We didn't get that far, but we did not work out. But I think
it was about the waffle.
It was probably the waffle. Like I tested her. I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna give her the wrong one and see if she still loves me.
And she was like, no. She threw a fit.
No. Well, listen. This is a great conversation. Thanks for being so open. Maybe we should. We'll dive into the Bachelor a little bit.
Can't wait.
Maybe we can figure out who's got some mommy and daddy issues on this season.
Everyone.
Violet is a, no pun intended, Bachelor virgin.
Yes, I am.
But she has some strong opinions, and I can't. Let's just dive right into it.
Yeah, you took my. What's the American thing? My cherry.
Flower, cherry. I don't know. Blossom. I don't know.
You took my blossom.
It's usually some sort of like plant.
You took my plant.
My plant. All right.
I watched the episode, and it was my first episode ever of The Bachelor. I've never seen it before.
What did you think?
I thought it was interesting. I guess technically, like, even in real life, we're all on The Bachelor. We just don't know it because we are probably all dating guys that have like 7 other girls that they're dating. So you're just like, you're not getting famous for it, but you're still dating a guy that's dating a bunch of other girls. So that sucks. So I felt like I was like, cool, like that's my life. I can totally relate. I just don't know about these girls. Like, great. But
do you prefer that? Would you like to know? Or do you think ignorance is bliss?
I think in the beginning, ignorance is bliss. Like, I think I say I want to know, but if I knew, like, I wouldn't like it. I'm a competitive person, so I don't think I'll be able to be on the show. But watching the episode, when I watched it, one thing that bothered me, about the guy being a virgin, I can see how that's, like, a cool thing and all that. But in my head, I was like, why would anyone want to end up with this guy? Like, imagine sleeping with him. He would just, like, you wait so long to finally
You can mold the clay however you want it.
You want to end up with a guy that's already been around the block, did what he did, he's over it, and now he finally found his wife. Like, I don't want a guy that I'm going to help him experiment everything he needs to experiment, and now the minute he finally tasted, like, a drug, now he's like, okay, I'm ready for more. Then he's going to cheat on me or then leave me because he finally had sex. Now he wants to have sex with a bunch of everyone, of what he's missing out on. And he's going to, like, come in 2 seconds. And then you're just gonna like lay there and be like, oh, it's over, it's done, cool. I'm glad I helped you, like, lose your virginity, cool, man. Like, can you get me a towel, like something, you know? I'm just saying, like, I don't want to be his first.
Can you get me a towel? Do you prefer that towel like with warm water or dry? Or?
Either one, whatever's available.
Do you have any favorites or front runners of the women?
I definitely, to be honest, I was pretty fond of, what is the name of that 23-year-old that was like really fun and she kissed him?
Oh, Demi.
Demi is definitely going to be like one of the villains of the show. I can see how they're putting her, and I'm fond of her because I can tell she came on the show to date. She came on the show to date, and she's having fun, and she's definitely going to be the center of attention, and that's what she came on the show for. I don't think she came on the show to get married. I like her personality, and I like that she's fun. Mm-hmm. And I like her as a person, and I like her because I can tell a lot of people are gonna hate on her.
Yes.
But that's what she wants anyway. So I'm fond of her, and I like that she got off the stage and she kissed the Bachelor. Who I don't like as much is a 31-year-old girl that's insanely dramatic. And no offense, like if I was dating her and then I got to see an episode of how she was acting, I would be like mortified that she
sitting on the floor crying that she got interrupted. Yeah.
You are on The Bachelor. You're fully aware that the whole point is you're supposed to steal each other, to steal the guy in order to get attention. Like, why are you crying over it? Like, I feel like she thought it was going to be like this fairy tale where she's going to come and everyone's going to be like, wow, you're meant to be with him. Girl, we support you. Everyone, clear the room so she can have his time. Like, it's not going to happen. And to be honest, like,
I got a question for you.
She's going to get
she won't last.
Out.
So, I got a question for you. I thought an interesting theme of the episode, Colton's younger. He's 26, right? So there's a lot of younger women, and they have like these 27, 31, and like cougars was like a theme of the episode. Did you find that offensive? You're 30, like
I just turned 30. I mean, I was, so like if I made a 29 a month ago.
If I made a 27 or 28-year-old, I'm like, totally, for me, I think that's age appropriate. But I'm like, okay. She's definitely, she's young. For me, she's super young. I understand I'm older, but like 27 is so young.
Yeah, but like for someone that's
Cole's only 26.
Yeah, but for someone in the early 20s,
I get that. Yeah,
you look when you think about someone in their 30s, you don't realize like how young it is. You're just like, oh my god.
I totally get her point of view. I'm asking, did you find that offense when you were watching it? Did it bother you being referred to as like a cougar? Do you think you're a cougar?
No.
Okay.
But so I've dated younger guys. Like one of the guys I dated last year, which by the way I was 29 since I was 29 a month ago. Thanks. One guy was 23, one guy was 24, one guy was 21. He finally turned 22 after he stopped talking. So, like, I like younger guys. I like older guys. I don't care. So, I didn't find it offensive, but I don't get offended that easily. Like, who cares? I like Demi. I think she's good for the show. She's fun. She's not the type of girl, no offense to her. It seems like to me, as a guy, if I was a boy, she would be the type of girl I want to have fun with, but not the one I would want to settle with. Huh. So I don't see him choosing her at the end. Like I don't see her being one of the top two.
Do you think that's an age thing, or do you think that's her personality?
I think it's both. And I think like...
I was pretty savage when she was like... The girl you're talking about, I forgot her name, was she's 31. She was older. I don't want to refer to her by her age, but like the 31-year-old.
And she started crying.
But the one who was being immature, she was sitting down, and Demi, is it Demi or Demi?
Oh, Tracy. Tracy's the
Tracy. Anyways, Jailbird walks up and sits down and just like stares at her and goes, "It was so savage. It was awesome." And it's just like, "Well, I heard I upset you," and she's like, "Well, you're great because you're such a good storyteller." And like,
oh my god, it was so funny because it was not genuine, and like a lot of times
it was so savage.
And Demi, when she goes, like people will give her feedback or whatever, she's like, "Yeah, yeah," and then she goes on the interview thing and she's like, "I don't know, I don't care because I'm here to," and like I love that, like great.
I mean, it's like, listen, it wasn't necessarily mature of her, but like her ability to do that, and it's got to be intimidating for a 23-year-old. And I don't know, but like it was.
I don't think she's intimidated by Tracy.
She's not intimidated by anyone.
She came on the show to date. She came on the show to compete. She's doing what she needs to do. She wants to be the girl that stands out, and she is. Like that's why I like her, because I can see what she's doing, and I'm fond of her personality.
Yeah, no, totally agree with you. She's one of my favorites. I like the pot stirrers in the sense that like, because you haven't watched the show, but so much of the show historically.
That's not true. I'm a big fan.
Are you lying to me? White lies. That's right. White lies. It's like historically, a lot of the fans will like write reasons and like this weird expectation of, well, wait your turn. Like, don't interrupt. And it's every season. It's funny how it never gets old. The one person who's like, listen, I don't know. I showed up and I like this person. The first time I was on the show, I mean, I wasn't maybe as abrasive as her, but that was me. I was like, I like her. I'm going to get her flowers. I got her flowers and was like, all the guys were just like, how dare you? And I'm like, I don't know. I like her, man. Like, And it was in this weird thing that you're supposed to be okay with sharing, which is so bizarre in the real world. But in that, people watch it and be like, she's rude. I also like thought it was funny. What it was crazy. This, you know, the what, Tracy? Is it Tracy?
Tracy, yeah.
Tracy was so offended that Demi touched the rose.
Yeah.
Touch the rose.
God,
Like,
I saw that.
What it means.
What it means.
And she's like, it has such a big meaning. It's like, babe, it's like the second episode. Like, chill out.
You don't. The woman I got engaged to, her name was Vanessa. I don't know if
her name was. Is it not anymore?
Her name is Vanessa.
Okay.
She's still with us on this earth. That's a great. I love that thing. They really.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go on.
Never got a group date, Rose. Ever.
Oh.
Wow.
Not one. So listen, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but like you can still win.
I just think
like it's as long as you get a rose, you're still moving on. But like and again, it's Tracy's. She's first time in that environment. She's clearly on how she takes everything
Demi's doing what everyone else wants to do, but it's too embarrassed to do, and that's why Tracy's getting upset because you're like I would have loved to do that, but I'm too scared to do it.
Yeah.
That's why they're hating on her.
That's a great point.
And to be honest, if anything, Tracy should have laughed it off because after Demi went and touched the rose, she didn't end up getting it. So then I would have been like, damn, that's so embarrassing, girl. You're so confident and you didn't even get the rose. Instead of being like, I just need to talk to you. Like, the fact that you touched the rose, it was like so disrespectful. Like, when my grandma died, it wasn't as bad as when you touched that rose. Like, what? Are you okay?
I was like, oh my God, chill out. It's just like
the meaning behind this rose. It's like you're literally competing with 20 other girls. How much meaning does this rose really have?
I can assure you, not as much as she thinks it does.
I actually feel bad. Like, I don't want to be an asshole about Tracy because I do love all women.
You make a good point though, but like relating to the real world, like, you know, whether it's men or women, like confidence can be intimidating, and I think we all aspire to be confident. And when we are confident, it feels good, and when we feel insecure, we wish could be confident.
Yeah.
But let's not hate on just because you're not doing something that someone has the courage to do, like that doesn't mean they're doing something wrong.
Exactly.
And like maybe you just be like, hey, how did you do that? Do you not?
Or like,
do you not fear rejection? Because like,
it's cool. And if I was Tracy, I would actually try to study that. Like, because I think Demi is too extreme with her being overly confident, because obviously it can come from some insecurities.
Sure.
While Tracy is too extreme with being kind of like. It's a true story of that Netflix show, You. Like, that's her. Like, she's
embracing who she is.
Like, Tracy needs to, like, you know, you can become, for when I like a guy, I love to, not to chase the guy, but I'm kind of, like, I call it, like, I'm the predator. And I see what I like, and I kind of go for it. And, like, if someone else has a problem with that because they think it's too confident, like, that's not my problem.
Would you agree with the guess, I guess, would be that Tracy might be the girl who, like, on her second date, is like, all right, so what are we? Like trying to define the relationship. Like
but even fun girls,
always too fast.
Even fun girls like Demi want to know what they are even on the second date. They just hide it better.
I think everyone wants to know. Where they stand, and I think that's a normal thing to know where they stand.
Some girls are just better at playing the game or pretending like they don't care.
Yeah, I don't mean like we all as people want to know where we stand, but like just to do it, like abrasively be like, are we dating? You know, like there's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it. I don't think Tracy's understanding like what the game is about, and she expects to like this guy to look at her and feel like, oh, you're it. Like, I love you. And Tracy seems like she's battling her own little demons, and I don't know if she has daddy issues or what issues she has, but like to be able to sit down. I mean, obviously it's edited, so I don't know what really happened in those few moments we didn't see, but to be able to go to after sitting with him and then Demi taking him away for a second, her crying about it, like that feels like that came from some rooted deeper issues, because that doesn't make sense to me. And I'm pretty dramatic, a lot of emotional. I know I'm not dramatic, I'm emotional. Like, so like that's even to me, it's like, whoa, that's a lot what's happening there. So I think Tracy needs to stop focusing on everyone else and what they're doing wrong and figure out like what's going on with her. Totally agree. And only thought I have on the show, I don't know what you thought, the Colton's one-on-one date with, I apologize.
Oh my God. It was so awkward. What was her name?
So awkward.
It was Heather, right?
I thought Colton, I want to give some props to Colton. It's a really difficult position to be in.
There's so many blondes. What's up with
Very
that?
difficult position to Hannah. He went on Hannah.
Wait, there's Hannah B, Hannah G.
Yeah, Hannah G. It was Hannah G.
Oh my God,
No,
when
he went on a one-on-one with Hannah B.
Yeah,
Hannah
yeah.
G got the first impression rose.
yeah, wait, he went 1-on-1 with Hannah B on a date. And you know
No.
what the funniest part
He went on a
Hello?
oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the names are on the bottom. You're right. Apologize.
at the top.
Top. Yes. He went on one date with Hannah B. I got to. We're gonna give Colton props. It's very difficult, just in general, to be the Bachelor, and for someone, it's so hard. On these dates, it's all about conversation. There's like, in the real world, like, people talk about awkward pauses and like, well, fine, we'll just make out or something. You can't just do that all the time, right? And so it's about getting to know. You have limited time, and she was so terribly awkward and uncomfortable. And I just got to give Colton a lot of props for like helping her feel comfortable, and she finally was able to talk a little bit. She's gonna go home. I don't think she can get out of her own skin in that atmosphere, but he did a great job, and it was nice to see him do that. It got better, and he really I was just really impressed. I think he did a great job there, and I'm glad that she was able to like save the date a little bit, because it would have and truthfully, had she not, he would have been kind of forced to send her home.
Not on her birthday, though. You think he would have?
Of course. Listen, I don't think he would have wanted to, and I think it would have made good TV. I don't think it would have, but like, let's assume it never got better. Like, everyone would have been like, well,
Yeah,
clearly,
that was so awkward to watch. Like, even I was like uncomfortable. And then when she was like, "Oh, you have a lash, make a wish," and I was like, "Is his wish like that this date ends? Like, what was his wish?"
Right? I mean, but he did such. I don't know. I just want to give Colton props there. He gets a lot of criticism sometimes. He did a great job of helping her out, and she seemed to get more comfortable in her own skin. It was great to. Maybe
she was just shy.
Yeah.
Took her a second. I like her. She's chill, but she's also, I think, she's a pageant girl. So I think a lot of times when I don't know if she's done it her whole life, but like pageant girls, like a lot of times they're so used to saying like what they need to, and you are like, you almost become a robot. One of my good friends used to be a pageant girl.
Okay.
So it's like you're almost a robot. So I think when you're in real situations, you kind of like, wait, what's my line? Like, what do
Really?
I say? Like, you're just like, yes, I want to save the world. Yes,
I found
wanna
that
do that
surprising, because when I was watching it, being the pageant girl, I thought, she might be better under pressure, or
I think she's trying to be real, and like she just sometimes maybe you also like forget who you are for a second. If you like, it's like, if I'm not a pageant person, like, who am I? And then she doesn't know what to say. I think she was just being shy. Like, I would give her another chance.
Yeah, and she got a rose. She'll be. I don't think she'll unfortunately get last. I think this world's gonna get the best of her, and
she's unraveling.
And did you notice? I don't know if this happens all the time, but like, does the Bachelor always make out with like everyone? He's just like every second he was making out with another girl, and I was like, damn,
listen,
like, chill out.
Here's it's.
Is that what you did?
Everyone has limited
And he
time.
looks like such a bad kisser. Ugh. The minute you see him kissing, I would do a close up, and it's just like his tongue already going into a girl's mouth, and I was like, chill out, bro.
It's a tough
You're a
position
virgin, really?
to be the lead, whether you're the Bachelor or the Bachelor, and it's, especially as the Bachelor, it's difficult because the women want to get to know you, and they're trying to kiss you, and you're not
He
gonna
looked like he kept coming to them to kiss them.
Fine. I mean, you're trying. The Bachelor just most times just try not to be a dick, and also be at the same time
He's
be
trying
honest.
not to be a dick.
No,
dick
but
by
it's just
kissing
like but you have all like the general premise is like you have all these women that they set it up where you have all these women who have given up their time to be there, and that's true. And you are grateful that they're there, and you want to give them the time, and you want to be respectful, and also you're trying to figure out who you like and don't like, and you every week have to send people home and break up with them. And imagine if Hannah B didn't like save the date by. He would have been like, I might have to send this girl home on her birthday, but like you have to make this choice between either breaking up with her and being mean, or wasting your time and everyone else's time by like giving. There's such a finite amount of time in that world,
Right.
And then so like people are trying to kiss you, and not everyone you kiss as the Bachelor you really want to kiss. If someone like grabs me or wants to kiss, I don't like turn my head. I'm like, if you're watching, you saw the Bachelor like turn, like you would think he's an asshole. You would.
But it doesn't. I didn't feel like any of the girls went for it with him except Demi. Like everyone else, he was sitting with them, and then it's like, yeah, and then he like gets closer to them and makes out with them.
Maybe. I
And
could be
puts his
reading it wrong. I didn't look at that closely.
I
but
bet he's the type of kisser that just like moves his tongue in a circle around the other girl's tongue, and that's like his kissing.
I mean, he
way.
has a limited dating experience, so I don't know. I've never imagined how Colton might kiss. I didn't look at that.
And I think you would think that he would really like that other girl that's never been kissed before, but I bet it's a turnoff for him because I bet he wants someone more experienced. I could tell.
Well, someone has to know how to drive the car. I mean,
Yeah, I could tell that he wasn't like, I think she thought he was going to be like, oh my God, you're my soulmate. And instead he was like, oh, yeah, that's nice. And then it was like, cool. Well, I'm glad he told me.
I don't think it's
It was,
about
like, so
that. I do
awkward.
think it's about, like, again, it's all about the conversations. And if you can connect with someone that as the Bachelor means more than most things in that world, because you are with this person, and if you can't talk, it's not like you can be like, oh, well, I mean, hey, I gotta get up early in the morning. Like you can't have the friend call you and be like, hey, like an emergency happened. You're on this date for better or worse. And so
Right.
like to not be able to communicate is awkward and uncomfortable, and you're trying to make them feel it's difficult to
Okay,
do.
I also have a question. And I think I've seen this before. Sometimes before, if the Bachelor was really interested in the conversation he was having with the girl, and another girl came up to him and she was like, "Can I steal him for a second?" He was like, "Hey, I'm not done. Like, I just want to like finish." Hasn't that happened before?
Sometimes, rarely, but basically, as the Bachelor, again,
You're not supposed to do that?
You're making a TV show, and you're letting the women be who they are.
Oh, okay, got it.
Right? So especially early on, you're kind of like letting things happen. You're trying not to stop things from happening. You let them happen. And every season, the Bachelor does get criticized for not doing that. There were certainly plenty of times where I wanted to be like, yeah, no. Like, but you're kind of like, all right. And that's why Colton, like episode 1 was like, all right, fourth time's a charm. Because he's like, all right, let's just see where this goes. I guarantee you he didn't want to talk to her more than one time. But like, okay.
To which one?
There was a girl who interrupted 5 times the first episode. It was like this whole thing. And it was pretty funny, and it was fun to watch.
Wait, can you show me the picture of her?
Yeah.
But yeah, like he early on, that's going to happen. You'll see less of that as the season goes on, but you're going to let situations create themselves.
Catherine.
Yeah. So like there definitely is that. So he's in a difficult position because he's just going to let things happen for a while.
He seems like a really nice guy.
He's a
for
very
sure.
nice guy. Yeah.
But I can see him ending up with like a small town girl or Southern or something, for sure. Like there was a few girls that caught my eye that I was like, I wonder if they're gonna be one of the final people.
I like Elise. I think Elise is cool. She's got a really
chill.
nice voice.
It's
and
not
she
gonna
seems
happen.
mature. And
No, it's not gonna happen. Keep going. She's cool though.
I really like her voice.
Was Erin allowed on the show? Damn, why are they all blonde? This is kind of making me
That's
maybe Hannah G.
yeah. Well, she got the first impression rose
I like Hannah G. I feel like they have something there.
for sure.
Heather's chill, but I don't see it like. I feel like she's gonna go a little bit, but not final 2. Keep going. So I like that one. More. Is it? Okay, no. I really like Nicole, by the way. She's cute.
Self-care, self-maintenance is always important. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Care Of. What is Care Of? Well, I'm glad you asked. Care Of is a monthly subscription vitamin service that delivers completely personalized vitamins and supplements right to your door. So how do you personalize your vitamins? Well, it's really simple. You go to takecareof.com and they have an online quiz. It only takes about 5 minutes, and in that quiz you can talk about your diet, health goals, lifestyle choices, and then you personalize and scientifically back vitamins and supplements that are recommended to best serve your needs. Interesting thing about vitamins that I recently learned is that 90% of people fall short of the FDA recommended guidelines for their vitamin and nutrient intake. So we need to get our vitamins, and we can help supplement our health by Care Of. So while in January, if you sign up for Care Of and get your personalized vitamin subscription box, you can get 50% off your first month of personalized vitamins. Go to takecareof.com and enter Viall, Viall, to get your 50% off. Take care of yourself, people. Maintenance is important. Live longer, be happier. You got to make it a habit. We all know how I feel about habits. You got to do it over and over. And they make it a lot easier by just personalizing it for you, sending it right to your door. if you are vegan or vegetarian, don't worry. They have supplement options available to you for all dietary needs. So check them out. Again, takecareof.com. Take your quiz. Look at their options. They have a lot of great vitamins and supplements and a lot of great ways to help you be your best self. All right, well, we're going to move into the Ask Nick portion of our episode. Violet, very good at dating advice. She gives some of her own to her own fans. So I think she's going to be a very a valuable participant in this conversation. So let's get to it.
I agree.
What's up, Kevin? How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's Friday.
All right. How can we help you?
All right. So I guess my question is, you talked about, I guess, in the last episode about, hitting on women at the gym, and how that would be not a bad place to meet someone. But just given that there's the social construct of hitting on women at the gym is a faux pas, how do you go about that without coming off as that guy that hits on women at the gym?
Totally. Just to clarify, because Violet didn't listen to the last episode, my overall opinion when it comes to meeting people is you can meet someone anywhere, and if you have that, if there's someone you're interested, try to seek that moment, right? There are easier places to hit on people and more difficult places to hit on people. Like, obviously on a dating app, the idea is everyone's there to meet someone. You go to a bar, there's a general kind of accepted idea that, like, if you run into someone at a gym, it's a lot different because it is someone's personal space. But also, you might run into someone and think, "Oh my God, this is the most incredible." And how do you do that? I mean, the answer, I don't have a good answer, right? In terms of like,
ask them if they need help stretching.
You really think that's a good line, or are you
Nope.
being sarcastic?
I was being sarcastic.
Okay. I went to a workout class. My friend was teaching it, and it was a boxing one. And right next to me was a incredibly attractive woman. I didn't say anything because of that kind of.
She's now married.
My only advice is in those situations, I have tried to be aware of the situation I was in the sense that if I've ever one time when I was younger, there was this bartender who I was really attracted to, and I wanted to get her number. And the thought was, I'm like, every guy every night is probably asking. She's probably hit on 30 times a night. So I'm just going to be one other annoying dude that instead of who wants to just get a beer is going to ask for her number. So I was just I tried to find the right moment when she seemed to have, and try to make conversation and just say, "Hey, listen, I apologize if I'm like the 30th guy to do this, but and I just tried to be as genuine as possible. And I just said, listen, you probably get this a lot. You probably even have a boyfriend, but on the off chance, you're remotely interested, maybe I can give you my number." And I put the ball in her court, I think would be some advice too.
Okay, what happened then?
We went out. It was great. We had a fun time.
What?
I don't know. It was 10 years ago. I'm single to this day. Well, I mean, that doesn't mean
What a success story.
I went out with her. It was
great. Does that
great.
give you hope?
He just wants to start shooting. So what do you? So okay, we're going to the woman's perspective. Do you think every guy should just not ever make an attempt?
I think it depends. If it's at the gym where people are working out, I would try to hit on someone then before they're really getting to their workout. If someone's in the middle of running and then you're like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And she's like, "Dude, get the fuck out of my way." I'm in the middle of finishing a mile. Or I hate if I've done hot yoga or hot Pilates and I'm sweating and I look so ugly and we finally finished the class. I want to get out of there because it smells so bad. And a guy came up to me and was like, "Hey, blah, blah." And I go, "No." And I kept walking because I'm I'm about to die. Get away from me. That's my personal issue. But I think at the gym in general, I think if you come off not creepy, plus you're attractive. So I think that gives you some points to not be creepy. So don't ask them to stretch. I was kidding. That would be creepy. But I think you should approach women when they're in the beginning of their workout or at the end where they're just stretching. So if you see some girl stretching, you just stretch next to her and then you're like, "Oh, what's that move? What is that? What do you call that?" Or something like that. And that's how you start a conversation, or just start asking something somehow about them, because everyone loves talking about themselves.
Sure.
And
what would you think about, I'm honestly asking, I'm asking, so I don't know, Kevin. What if it was if you thought each other were checking each other out, or maybe would you find a way to pass a note or something? Like, what would be the least?
Pass a note?
I don't know.
How
like,
old are you? Is this class?
I'm just saying, like,
He's just going to pull out a note and a pencil from his,
maybe
like,
you
gym.
give it to, like, the front desk person and just like, hey, can you give it to that? I don't know.
Honestly,
what would be, like...
That's so cute. Like, if you did that, I think I would be like...
And the note said, I'm just spitballing here, hey, listen, I didn't want to bother you while you're at the gym, but I would love to get you a drink. Here's my number, balls in your court. That's
actually so cute because people don't do that. So if you notice that this girl's checking you out, though, like, it's not like...
Or not. She can always not reach out.
No, hold on. If you notice eye contact with this girl, but then
eye contact, and
all that, then you go to the front desk. You write something and you ask someone at the front desk, one of the trainers, to go up to her and give her the note. Then I think that's really cute. But... imagine it doesn't work, and then you keep going to the gym and you keep seeing her, and then you got rejected, which is funny, but that's life.
So what? That's life. Yeah. I mean, like, only your ego is bruised at that point.
But that's actually a really cute thing. I feel like most girls, I know, like, even me, and I'm pretty hard to, like, talk to sometimes. I would say I would kind of adore if I of course I was attracted.
She might not be interested.
If I was like gazing into this guy a lot, and then he gave this note, it's so original. That'd be like,
yeah,
that's so
it's
cute.
A risk because, like, if she doesn't even notice you, like, maybe she doesn't even know you exist, and it's just like, who the
so
fuck
write
is
your
this?
handle, your Instagram handle, so that she can look
you really
up your
think
pictures.
That? Do you think that's kind of douchey though?
Yes, that's very douchey.
Yeah.
I feel like, would you do that?
I would not do that. I would never do that. Violet is low key suggesting I might be douchey. It's fine. We just met. Yeah, I would say something like, I would acknowledge that you wanted, like, hey, listen, didn't want to interrupt your gym time or wanted to respect your but. I would regret it if I didn't ask you out.
Yeah.
Or something
what if,
like
though,
that.
it doesn't work out? Like, what if you guys go out and then it doesn't work out, and then you suddenly go to the gym and you see this other hot girl, so then you do the same note thing, and then that girl finds out, and
That's a risk. But, like, listen, there's one thing I know is there is an abundance of gyms in this world.
Or you do it to 3 girls at the same time.
Yeah, I'll have to switch gyms.
I've done that before. When I wanted to hit on someone, I was just like, I just stopped talking to someone. I wanted my ego to feel better. So I went on this page where, like a basketball team, and I, like, started going through pictures, and I was like, okay, who's single here? And I was like, okay, let me DM this guy. Let me like this guy's picture. And then one answered back, like, right away. So then I was like, all right, let me unlike that picture and unlike that. And then I talked to that one specific guy that answered. So, like, a lot of times on the internet, it's, like, really easy.
Do you find that, like, a line or a move, because this is kind of like a move or a line, does it take away the impact if you've do it multiple times? I mean, because, like, to this point, like, let's say Kevin tries this and it doesn't work out, and, like, 6 months from now, another girl he doesn't know much about other than the fact he's attracted to, and he tries it again and it works, is it somehow less romantic?
No, because she doesn't have to know he's done that before.
What if she says, have you ever, oh, that was really cute, have you ever done that before?
And he'll say no. It's called a white lie. It's a white lie.
You would okay,
what if
what if Kevin
starting the relationship off in a lie?
Thank you. What if Kevin told the truth? Would you be
Yes.
You would be.
That would turn me off. Then I'd be like, I'm not special.
Wow. So you would prefer, like, hey, listen, Violet, I'm gonna be honest.
I've been cheated on a few times.
Honest.
That's probably
fine. But if you're like, listen, listen, I might, like, this might kill the charm of what I did, but I'm also just an honest to a fault, and it'd be easy for me to lie, but I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I've done that. I've done it 4 other times over the course of a year. Like,
that would give me a red flag already. So in my head, I'd be like,
the red flag is honesty.
No, it's kind of like, I'm not special. You're just trying to find girls, and, like, the one girl that said yes, that's
wait,
like,
wait. We're all trying to find people, right? And, like, dating's hard, and shooters got to shoot, and, like, you go on, like, I don't understand. Like, if Kevin goes on a date with a girl and they date 2 or 3 times and it doesn't work out,
sometimes white little lies are fine if it makes the person feel nice. It's not like, are you cheating on me? And he's like, no, babe, because I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to be honest with you. Like, that's a big lie.
Okay, follow-up question to that. Let's say Kevin tells the white lie, and dumb luck, he runs into some other girl who is like, and small world, we all realize it's a smaller world than than we think, and this girl's like, yeah, he did that for me. We went out a couple times. Then how would you feel?
Then it's embarrassing for him, but then he'll tell her the truth and be like,
no. I'm talking about the fact that you just found out your boyfriend that you've only been dating for a month lied to you.
I mean,
the person who you said got cheated on multiple, like, how's that? How big is that red flag?
I mean, I would kind of be like, ew, okay. But then I would ask him, and then most likely what he would say is, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. And honestly, like,
So now
I didn't even like her the way I like you.
So
I'm
now
like,
you've
"That's
just
fine."
established you're dating someone who's willing to tell a white lie because he doesn't want to hurt your feelings. So anytime he can potentially hurt your feelings, you've just given him permission to lie.
Be honest from the beginning, and if she ever asks you if she looks fat, tell her the truth, because God forbid you tell a white lie.
Okay, that's a totally different question.
No,
All right,
you
fine.
want a guy that's honest. So if I ask you if I look fat in these pants, let me know I look fat. Take a second to think about it, look me up and down, and then be like, actually, yeah, you did gain a few pounds, because I'll appreciate that honesty.
Don't do that.
You got it. Don't lie.
I like a little meat in my bones, whatever.
Yeah, tell her that.
Don't say that. Definitely don't say that. But if you're truly in love, just be like, I don't know. You look.
If
just
you're
say
truly
you look
in
beautiful.
love with her?
Well, you look
Oh,
beautiful. Well, however you look great. I don't know.
But that's a white lie.
So that you think there's I don't know, slippery slope. But
You're canceled.
Fine. I just think if he got caught, I don't know. I feel like you might be contradicting yourself.
The beginning, everyone pretends to be someone they're not, except me.
Can we get another voice? Rochelle, what do you think?
I think we're all, as women, on like high fuckboy alert. So like as soon as you hear like a guy's using a line on, I'm always like, anytime I get a line, I'm like, you do that with everybody? Because if they do, I'm like, no, go. I can't take a chance.
But here, okay, it's like if this is a guy, Kevin, who seems like a nice guy, who like doesn't want to be a douchebag, hitting like he's asking us because like all the guys would be like, yeah, I'm just gonna hit on girls at the gym, like so he wants to be genuine. He's pushed back on lying, but it's still technically a lie because like we've all agreed that like at face value, hitting on people at the gym is not the best time to do it. But
depends. If the girl's not really working out, she's probably
whatever.
there
But
to
like
get hit on.
if there's and we're all trying to figure out crowdsourcing, how do we do it? And we've come up with this way that's kind of technically a line. Does that make Kevin a fuckboy? Because like he's just trying to meet a girl? Violet's shaking her head yes.
Yeah. Or what you can do is most likely everyone posts these
like
days.
it's just a winless battle here. We're just
Hold on. Everyone,
it's super charming, but if you did it with anyone else, fuck him. He's a total fuckboy.
Everyone wants to feel special. What do you mean? You're silly. Okay.
But can't you make someone feel special by like their actions in the
I've
relationship?
done it to 22 other girls, but you're the only girl who responded. So I was like, all right, she'll do. And then we went out. Because that's what a girl wants to hear.
I've DM'd more than one girl in my life and said, hey, would you like to get a drink?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure a girl would never, if you DM'd a girl, I feel like she'll be smart enough to assume you've done that with other girls.
And
I'm
do you
just
want to
saying,
get
like,
a drink isn't like a line or a move. It's like, okay, that doesn't feel...
Well, either really is passing a note saying, I didn't want to bug you while you were doing sit-ups, but like I want to go out. That's in a way, it's like an old school sliding into a DM. Well, how is that any different?
What if it never happens and she never even asks him if he's done it before?
Fine, but that's a whole different conversation. I'm just curious because
I think you should lie.
It brought it up. It brought it up because I've heard this before in terms of like, oh, how many times have you used that line? And are these lines, are they just like guys or men or women trying to think of creative ways to break the ice because we all get nervous and we all don't know how to hit on people and we get worried about rejection and we're just trying to like find out a way to go out with a cute girl, you know?
I think fuck boys have ruined it for the rest of you. I'm sorry.
Man,
I think,
good luck, Kevin.
Do the note though. The note's really cute, and if you can do the note, then I would just go on like, as I'm assuming people tag, because social media everyone uses now. People tag that gym or hashtag it. So if you just click on the hashtag or the tag, you'll most likely find that girl because she probably tagged that gym, and then that's how you can find her social media and then DM her. And then be like, I never do this ever. I never DM girls. But like, you're the first one. Do you want to get a drink?
Actually, I was at the Golden Globes, and I brought a friend, female friend. So like, but like she was my date, but we're friends. And there was this girl who on the dance floor at the party where I was like, she is so attractive, and I was like, I'm shamelessly checking her out. I was like, I'm going to let this girl know that I am interested and like kind of see if, and I could tell that she knew, and she's like whispering in her friend's ear, like this guy's checking me out. Well, I was with my friend. It was just like I was trying to find the right time to maybe say hi, but I also like brought my date, who's my friend.
Have you slept with your friend before?
No, she's just my friend. I'm just saying like, I didn't have a problem. Like there was a moment she went to this girl I was checking out went to the bar to get a drink, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go say hi. And then she like left, and I chickened out. Anyway, so I didn't. It was so obvious. She knew, like we both knew that we were checking each other. Well, I knew that I was checking her out, and I knew that she knew I was checking her out. I felt like maybe she liked it, but I couldn't tell for maybe it was just the creepy guy being like, who's this? He keeps looking at me. Anyways, to your point, I was just curious to see if I could find her. And so I went on the geotag Golden Globes, and it took about 3 minutes, and there was a picture of her friend. I'm like, I think that's her friend. I clicked on that, and 2 seconds later, I'm like, there's the girl I was checking out.
Right.
And I DM'd her, and I was like, and my note was, guy checking you out at Golden Globes with the emoji with the hands up. And like she wrote back, and like whatever, we had a little bit of back and forth, but it was kind of like, she was like,
are you guys dating now?
No, this was last night. It was like, should I be flattered? Or she goes, should I be impressed or creeped out? And I said, well, I was hoping for flattered and maybe impressed, but creeped out was a risk because like clearly I had to like find her. But like even that, like, is that a line or is that just like
no? I mean, again,
pursuing
it's sweet.
or
It's cute that like he took the effort to find you. I don't know. So do one of those two. Either find her via social media or do the note. Like, don't wait for a girl to like finish showering and then she like leaves her thing and you're just been waiting outside to talk to her, and then she gets out of the locker room and you're like, hey, I don't know if you noticed me, because that's creepy.
Yeah. My final thought, Kevin, is you seem like a really genuine guy, and I would lead with you being genuine 100% of the time. And some girls won't like you, and some girls will, but you'll always be genuine, and that will work out well for you.
Yeah.
I also, going back to your stalking the social media.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the new Netflix show You? Like, doesn't
Yeah.
that seem...
I have, yes.
It's not the
it
same.
Does. I felt a little.
Same.
I did feel it. But listen, like, I don't know anything other than this girl that now I know who she is. I don't know. I haven't like. I don't know. I didn't do a deep search, but like that's how people are finding people. And again, like you have to be aware. Like I knew when I did that, there was that conscious thought of like, how is this going to look?
It's
and she called me
easier.
out, but she was clearly being playful.
Yeah.
But like you just have to acknowledge it. Like I was at the risk there. But like.
But he also has 1 million followers, so I'm sure she was like, oh my god, a guy is verified and has 1 million followers, and he DM'd me.
No.
A lot of girls are like that. Yeah. I'll be honest. That's the truth.
Man, Kevin, we're in trouble, man. Like I feel like the theme of this call is
give up.
Give up.
A few bad apples ruin the whole bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good luck,
man.
buddy.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for doing this. We really appreciate it. This is my friend Violet.
Hi.
I'm Nick.
Hello.
Sarah, tell us a little bit about yourself and your story, and how can we help?
Yeah, so I am in my mid-30s, and I have a career, I have a husband, but I'm looking to pursue some goals that I had before I kind of built this life. And so my question is, what tips or advice do you have for kind of chasing your dreams when you've had this established life already?
What is your dream?
I really want to be a writer.
Okay.
I want to be a children's author and a poet.
What are your doubts? Like, why do you think you can't do it?
So I'm scared on two levels.
Okay.
The first is, what if I fail at it?
Okay, that
And
might
then,
happen.
like, this thing I've wanted my whole life is
Sure.
just not who I'm supposed to be. And then what if I succeed and my life does go this other direction?
You're going to have to leave your husband. No? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't want to leave my husband, but I don't know what my life's going to look like and those relationships that I've built and the people that come to count on me.
Sure. Well, I mean, I guess my advice would be, I don't think you necessarily have to really, I don't think things are as black and white in these two scenarios, right? The first answer is like, you are writing, right? So you can, if you want to be a writer, write. You can, anyone's a writer. You might not be a paid writer or a published writer, but you can write and you can improve. And so because you can probably do that while doing your other things, you can see if you have some success, see how good you are, seek advice, get mentors, et cetera, and maybe get to the point while you're doing this other thing and not sacrifice anything else, and maybe get to the point where you wonder, like, am I at a crossroad where I'm really in a position where I actually have a real opportunity here, and maybe at that point worry about what you might have to give up to pursue this dream of yours. But at the same time, like, I don't know like how your husband feels. Hopefully you have his support in following your dreams. It sounds like I don't see why you can't change goals. I mean, you're only, how old are you? You're in your 30s? You're not old.
Yeah, I'm 33.
Right? I mean, like, here's the one thing I've thought, like, one life regret I have, and I've always had this, and nothing specific, but I've always said this, and I'll say it a bunch of times. No matter what age you are, that's the oldest you've ever been. So by definition, you just feel old. Like, you can have the perspective, then realize as you get older that you're not that old, but you still always feel old. And so whether it's people asking questions like, well, I want to go back to school, but like I'm 22 and I didn't go when I was 18, like most people do, they feel old. And I'm thinking, you know how young that is? It's insanely young. Go back to school if that's what you want to do. Or they just like, whatever that life change is, you're really never that old. I can assure you when you're 40, you'll think 33 is really young. And you'll be like, well, if I just started it then, by the time you're 40, you'd be doing whatever it is you're doing. So don't let that age be an issue. And I would think just go for it. I mean, why do you have to give up your family, or to Violet's kind of sarcastic point, leave your husband? I mean, I'm assuming he's supportive, so just go for it. As far as the fear of failing, you might fail. I mean, I don't know how good of a but like,
no, it's nothing to do with your writing skills. It's just a lot of people fail a lot before you reach the point of success.
That's a great point. Yeah.
So
as a
you
writer,
only hear about the success stories. You never hear about how many times those people tried and failed before they became successful. I mean, look at that one guy from 40-Year-Old Virgin. I forgot his name. What is it?
Oh, great.
Steve Carell.
Thank you.
Steve Carell. He didn't become a famous actor until he was 40, and he was acting for years before. So I think I think a lot of times we don't even want to start something because we're like, well, what if I fail? And you just don't want to deal with it. But then you're going to keep living your life saying, what if? I think it's good to start something as a hobby, because then you may realize like, oh shit, this isn't even actually what I want to do. So you start as a hobby, you see how it goes. You try to get, like he said, get mentors, like figure it out. If suddenly it can become lucrative in some type of way, then you keep pursuing it. If it's not for you, then you hold back, but then you'll never keep asking yourself, what if? Even if you failed, then you're like, okay, that wasn't the path for me. Or, okay, what did I do wrong? How do I keep going? That's usually how the successful people become successful, because they don't stop just because they failed once.
Totally. And also, success and failure is a relative term. You know, you have to have perspective in what your goals are, right? As a writer, you could define success by writing something that you enjoy. Or maybe you write your husband a poem and he thinks it's great. That's successful. You know, in terms of like creative content, it's kind of the eye of the beholder. And if your goal is to be a published writer and make a career out of that, like that's certainly something that is going to take some time.
Yeah.
But before you get there, like set smaller goals, obtainable goals, and work your way up.
Start with like writing a little short story and sending it to the New York Times.
Yeah.
Like that's a perfect thing. Like you getting published in the magazine, like that. Or what I did when I started my account, I have an account called Daddy Issues, is I looked at my competitors, like people I looked up to, and I was like, well, how did they do these things? And then if you read about them and you see what they're doing, like you try to do something like that.
Yeah. Ask for advice. You know, don't be afraid to like.
I get rejected. I still have so many goals, and I can't tell you, people don't realize, but like I can't tell you how many times I come up with an idea or I think I want to do something, and I get rejected and I get no's so many times. Or I like write a show and it goes through and then it gets canceled. Like you get used to so much rejection, but I don't go on the internet every day and talk about like, today I heard another no. Like I'm just like I go on the internet and that's when I'm like, I closed the deal today. One like editor might think you're not interested in your writer. They could also be wrong too. Yeah. Sometimes it just takes the right thing. So and he's right about changing your perspective, because I think we assume success means being worldwide, but success can be like you writing a beautiful poem that you took a lot of work, like time to work on, and you show it to your husband thinks it's beautiful. Like for me, when I write, when I started writing poems and I read one and I'd be so proud of it, like that was success for me. And to be honest, like I was just proud of myself that I was able to put my feelings into words on paper, and that was successful for me. So I think you should change your perspective and shouldn't pursue what other people can continuously consider a success. Okay. That's really helpful. Yeah. So failure is not your problem. You know, just the fear of failure, getting over that, because you can define success any way you want to, but also be realistic, you know, in terms of
the only other thing is that you don't like. I would be open to feedback and be open to criticism.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have that fear of failure will ultimately create that like, well, you think it's amazing and that doesn't really matter. I think you want to have that goal, but also be open to advice and criticism. Be willing to understand that you need to get better and there's better people out there.
A good example for me is that when I was younger, I started a blog after like I found out one of my ex at the time, my boyfriend at the time, cheated on me. So like I wanted to start a blog to write to other females, but I'm dyslexic and I was never that good at English, and I'm foreign. So I was always kind of feeling insecure about my writing. So I started a blog and I wrote a whole blog to try to other women to relate about being cheated on. And I remember a friend of a friend was like, oh my God, and she was a writer. And she was like, what is she doing? That's so embarrassing. Like, why would she write that? And I freaked out. I deleted the blog and I was like, she's so right. Like, I suck at writing. Like, I don't even know how to write. What am I doing? Only to years later, become a blogger, and literally people read my writing and they're like, oh my God, that's so helpful. You're so amazing, blah, blah. And when I started Daddy Issues again, that same girl said, what is she doing? That's so embarrassing. And I was like, no, this is happening. I don't care. And it happened. And now she's like, oh, I'm so happy for you, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I remember you, stupid bitch. Fuck you. Fuck you.
So to that point, like, other than being invaded, when you're like auditing the criticism you get, like listen to the criticism if they're willing to offer a solution. Like, what are you doing that's stupid isn't criticism. That's just someone being a dick. Don't let that discourage you. Someone saying, listen, I have some thoughts. Here's how you can maybe like, that's criticism you should pay attention to if it's like constructive. So like just seek that out and be willing to like listen to the positive criticism where they're helping you and try to ignore the haters.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you both a lot.
Bye.
Take care.
Hey.
There you go.
I'm Kayla, by the way.
Hi, Kayla.
Hi, I'm Violet. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So, Kayla, tell us a little bit about yourself and what is your story or your question?
Okay, my question is, I'll tell you a little backstory about it. So I've been pursuing this person for probably the past month and a half.
Okay.
And she is actually our mutual friends have told us you guys would be perfect for each other. You need to meet. And it's just never been good timing because we both have been dating someone else.
Okay.
So just recently, I became single probably in the past month or so, but she has a boyfriend. So we've actually been hanging out, though. We finally met. We've been hanging out and actually having sex, and we've been texting every day. But she actually has been the one initiating the conversations every day. I haven't been.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering, should I keep pursuing this relationship or should I not?
No.
I'm curious. When these types of questions, what do you think you should do?
So her boyfriend actually knows about it.
Okay, that's an interesting variable that you left out.
Right? Yeah, he knows about it, but
he knows you guys are hooking up.
Yes, he does know, and he's okay with it.
Is she? Is she bisexual? Is she curious? Is she a lesbian? What's her story?
Honestly, to me, I feel that she is a lesbian, but because I say that because she used to date women, and she actually has been in love with women in the past.
Okay, so he knows.
He does know, yes.
And what's his opinion about it?
He's okay with it, but I think
what do you want?
Had times where he.
Well, what do you want here? What is your goal here? Do you want to be exclusive with her?
Yes, honestly, I would love to be in a relationship with her.
And
I
not
feel like
share
we both
her.
Yes, to not share her. And I feel like in the beginning it started out with we both were mutually we're going to be friends, this is just going to be a hookup. But now I feel that my feelings and her feelings as well have gone deeper. But I'm just wondering, I don't know if she will leave him to be with me.
When you say they've gone deeper, you think this or she said this to you?
She's told me that she has feelings for me. She has actually said that she loves me.
Okay.
But go ahead.
I'm just learning here.
Okay, I don't
Violet
need to learn anymore. I have an opinion.
Yeah, Violet has an opinion.
Let me tell you what's really happening here. The reason her boyfriend knows about it and he's okay with it is because he thinks it's just a phase. and whatever. He's not taking it seriously because he's a boy and he just assumes it's just a phase. And the fact that she's few things. One, the fact that she's already been hooking up with you and like in a way cheating on him. Why would you even want to get with a partner like that? Because most likely she will do that to you when she gets bored with you. That's A. B, the fact that he knows about it, that means she's not leaving him anytime soon because he thinks it's just a phase and she's gonna get bored with you and move on to the next person. Maybe it already happened in the past and that's why he's so cool with it. So I think she's leading you on. And she likes the attention because she's insecure in her own ways, but she's not as into you as you are into her, and she's just going to waste your time.
Okay.
I pretty much agree with all of it. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a fairly toxic.
Yeah, she's the worst.
You have no control in the situation, and right now you're kind of grasping on it. Sounds like she's saying a lot of things that sound good and feel good.
But her actions
aren't really backing that up. And the fact that he knows is an interesting point. I mean, either way, whether it's a shitty situation all the way around. Had he not known, you're just dating a cheater. And the thought is you'll just be the other, eventually you'll be the one getting cheated on.
And it always happens.
Yeah. The fact that he does know makes it all that more complicated. And to Violet's point, you're kind of getting used here, it sounds like. Yeah. Almost.
And everyone deserves love, and you deserve love. Like, you just got a relationship. You obviously want to be loved. So instead, like, you need to heal from whatever pain you went through with your past relationship, and you need to really think about what you deserve, because you may be making the same mistake and moving on to someone that obviously is not going to give you the full love that you want, and you just want to be loved. But, like, take a step back and, like, focus on yourself for a second. Figure out why it didn't work out in your last relationship. And put this toxic person away from you, because this girl does sound really toxic to me. And just focus on yourself, and the next person you find will be single, and they will love you the way you want to be loved, and that's what you want. Like, you don't want to be second best. Like, that sucks.
Just out of curiosity, how do you know that he knows? She just told you, or that he's confirmed that he knows?
No, she has told me. But she's actually invited me out to their house before with him there.
All right.
But not wanting anything like sexual. Like, she would never want anything sexual between the three of us, though.
Yeah, I wasn't getting. I'm just like, maybe she's lying. It just seems like there's just a lot of.
I just think she's probably not even
the
first time this girl's dating someone just for fun. Like, I think she's doing this for fun while you're trying to look for something serious.
Once you're developing feelings and you want something more. To Violet's point, it's probably going nowhere fast. And you should.
She sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that way. That she does suck.
Good.
And like, listen, just I think it's easier. It's easy to say someone sucks, and I'm not necessarily disagreeing with it, but like, I think it's easier to get over a situation when you come to the conclusion that you deserve more, you deserve better. Whether they're a shitty person or not, it's just they're not meeting your needs.
Yeah, and one thing my mom told me, because last year I was like trying to date more, is that when someone shows you their true colors, like, listen.
Yeah,
like, they're being honest with you.
Yeah, people don't want to believe people all the time. Yeah. It's just like, well, they told me this. Should I believe them? Fuck yes.
No, but even how they act, it's like they're literally telling you this is who I am.
Yes.
But like, whenever like someone, I feel like in the past year when I've dated, like, didn't appreciate me or whatever, and I kind of would get butthurt and I'll call my mom talking to her about it, she'll be like, Violetta, because that's my full name, they're doing you a favor. They're literally like, you're so lucky because it's the wrong person. You're so lucky they're not chasing you and obsessed with you, because then it's going to be even harder for you to let them go because they're the wrong person for you. So like, they're doing you a favor in the beginning already for not being good enough for you. So like, keep walking. And she's like always right.
Totally. Like, minus maybe the sex being good and you like thinking you're a match. I'm guessing if you made a long list of pros and cons, the con list would be much longer of how she makes you feel. Like, how you think she makes you feel and how she actually makes you feel are probably very two different things, because I'm guessing you're spending a lot of time wondering.
Yes.
And every time she's with your boyfriend, it must hurt a little bit. And that's like, to call us up and ask a question kind of sucks. I mean, we appreciate you doing it, but it sucks that you have to do that. And so, like, really think about how she makes you feel, not how you think she makes you feel, or the idea of what you want in your perfect scenario of like, well, if I had my way, this is how I would be.
Yeah.
Well, what is it in reality?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, because if you were so secure in this relationship, whatever it is, like you probably wouldn't be searching for questions. I know the minute I start like Googling things like ways to figure out if this person likes you, like things like that.
He doesn't like you.
That's when
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, he's probably not that into me.
Yeah. So, but you're gonna be fun. Are you from Chicago?
No, I'm not. I'm actually from West Virginia.
No, okay. She's
But
wearing
I'm a
she's wearing a
Yeah.
Cubs
fan,
hat. That's why
so-
I ask. Well, I hopefully this was helpful. Good luck.
It was. Thank
Yeah,
you.
like,
I'm
just-
really glad that I called in and asked you guys. So I
Yay.
appreciate it.
In the final, if it seems messy, it probably is. And like to Violet's point, like most things are not as confusing sometimes as they seem. We just don't want to admit to ourselves that they're pretty clear cut.
So true.
Yep, very true.
Well, thank you so
Thank you
much.
guys so
Best of
much. I
luck. You're going to be
appreciate it.
great.
Thank you.
All right, take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
What does it mean when an ex who you were in a very serious relationship with, where marriage was talked about, has just started texting you again with random small talk and nothing to do with us?
Well, first of all, it means they're bored.
Yeah.
They're
They're just bored, and a lot of times they just want to make sure like they're like, oh, in case you forgot about me, like I'm right
Yeah.
here, still think about me. If they're not asking you to like go out with you again, whatever, they're just like testing the water just to be like, you still love me? Okay, cool, I needed that
Yeah,
for my
because
ego.
a lot of people want to be wanted but don't want you. Like they don't
Yeah.
want you to move on, but they don't want you. So like,
Yeah.
also like I sometimes these questions bother me because it's like, who gives a shit about what they want? What do you want? And even if she wants to get back together with him, like the ball's in her court in a sense too as well. Like, so like, what do you mean? What does it mean? I love your point earlier. If you have to try to figure it out, usually you
Yeah.
already know what the answer is if they want to
Also-
date you, they'll let you know.
Also, I read a book before about I do a lot of research. So one of the books I read was something about how if you want to get your ex back, you have to go a certain amount of time without talking to them. So if they're texting you or calling you, you don't have to respond. So if they're just texting you about your day and blah, blah, and it has nothing to do with your actual relationship, you don't respond until they finally give you like, hey, I would love to see you again. I've been thinking about you. I want to talk about what happened. Then you're like, oh, okay, let's do this. If it's just like, hey, do you still have my scrunchie at your house? Or like, did you watch The Bachelor? Or
No, yeah.
is your table gray right now? Or did you get a new table? It's like, you don't have to respond
Yeah,
to
just
that.
checking in. I've had people do that
Yeah.
too, where it's just like, hey, listen, if you want to talk about this,
Yeah.
fine. If not, like, we're not. Just be like, we're not friends.
Because then it's messing with your head, and then
Yeah.
you're like, oh, what? Like that's why this
Yeah.
happened. Because it's like, what does this mean? Because he's asking me about the weather, and he asked me if I thought the sky was blue enough. Like it means nothing. He wants your attention. That's it.
Yeah. So I totally agree with you. If you want something from this, you need to like force the issue.
No, but you just don't say anything until you don't respond. And then if he really wanted to get back with you, he's going to make a point. When men want you, you'll know.
It's fine, but I think it's also the other way around. I've had the same thing happen with women where it's just, and also, but like if it never changes, I do think at some point people have to cut people off. They have to say, hey,
Yeah.
listen, you keep texting me, like we're not buddies. And like
Right.
make yourself vulnerable. If you want to talk about us, fine, I'm open to it. But if not, like you're wasting my time.
And then he'll probably be like, dude, chill. I was just asking how
Yeah,
you were. Like,
but
okay,
at least
I
now
won't
you
have to
have
hit
your
you up.
answer. You can really move on. Right?
Okay, yeah.
When online dating, how soon should you tell someone that you have kids?
When you're online dating, should you tell someone if you have kids?
Yes. Yeah. I feel like that's nothing to be ashamed of. I think you have to acknowledge that some men and women out there in the dating world aren't looking for someone with kids.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
I think you should say it from the first date,
Yeah.
or like somehow put it in your conversation when you first start talking. Maybe not the first like text, but I think it's important because then if someone's not interested in looking for other people's kids or looking
Let's
for
move
kids,
on.
it gives you a better chance to be like, all right, that's not for me, moving on.
And you
If
certainly
anything-
don't attract the men who aren't and go
Yeah.
on 3 dates only to find out he's not into that.
Yeah, or also it's gonna make you seem dishonest if you like go on a few dates with someone,
Yeah.
then you're like, by the way, I have 7 kids. You're like,
Yeah. Don't make it an issue. Just
Yeah.
own it. And just, there's plenty of guys out there who'll be
yeah,
fine with
like
it.
you are a package, and your package of you comes with children, and that's someone's gonna love that.
Yeah, I just think sometimes we'll pine over, obsess over the things that we aren't getting, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there are plenty of guys who aren't into that. Fine, but just that doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, just weed them out. Like filter those out from the beginning so that you don't get discouraged by that.
Yeah. Put it on your dating profile.
Yeah. Just single mother of 2. Bam.
Yeah.
Who's ready?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all of your questions. We definitely need more of them. So please email us at asknick@castmedia.com. That is asknick@castmedia.com. Record a voice memo on your phone and email that, or just type up your email. And we can't do this without you. We need your questions. Keep it interesting. Keep it honest. And hopefully we can help you out. Well, Violet, I just want to thank you so much for being my co-host today. You were amazing. I think, biggest takeaway, we all have some mommy and daddy issues, and we all have issues. Let's not let them dictate who we are. We can have issues, and we can overcome them.
And the right person will love you for exactly the way you are.
And you made a great point earlier. Like, you can all have issues. Don't let it be a crutch. Get over it. Don't use that as an excuse to. It can be a reason, not an excuse.
Right.
Anyways, where can people find you on social?
Well, I live on.
What's your address?
They can find me at daddyissues_ and then at Viall Benson. My shopdaddyissues.com, on Twitter, daddyissues__.
This has been another episode of the Viall Files. See you next time. Have a good week.
Bye.